Hey guys, how's it going? Tuesday. Hey Robson, hey Aki. How's your Tuesday? Hey Slick, what's going on today? 9 months. Something Twitch baby. It's for the ruined basement. Yeah, congratulations. You have a ruined basement and also now a child. Yay!
9 months.
Seems like
something.
Seems like it's gonna be a bit of a problem.
I hope it makes up for the ruined basement.
A little bit of work. You're like giving me projects here. But thank you so much, Lennon. I appreciate it. I'm doing good, Aris. Good to see you too. How have you been? Fucked that up so bad? No, you're good. You're good. I knew what you were going for, so that's all that matters. All that matters. How's everybody's Tuesday going? We getting through? Surviving? Or it was December, it wasn't yesterday, October, right? That's what I'm saying, Sonora. I mean, like, look, as we get older, shit goes by faster, but I think it's just the last couple years, you know, like with COVID and with like no markers for like big events. And so nothing, like at least in my life, I don't know about other people, but in my life, things are basically the same. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any like, oh, okay, I did this big thing last month or this thing last month. Nothing. Every day is samey. Yeah. Very much samey. Dogs and I were talking about, so we normally go on a vacation in April, like just a weekend to Vegas or whatever. That's just our kind of our thing because that's where we got married, and so we just like go for a weekend around our anniversary ish and whatever, just have a weekend in Vegas. Like we both really like Vegas. I know a lot of people whatever, but we're just like, we like the heat, sitting by a pool, relaxing, the food's so like really good. We go to some shows. We don't really gamble and drink or whatever, but like, so we don't do the Vegas things in Vegas, but it's like a very cheap vacation spot normally, and nice to just get away. And obviously we haven't been able to do that. You can travel now, but it's just like, it's so much more complicated that we haven't. So we were talking and like we're thinking like, okay, maybe this coming April we can go, but with the new variant now, and it just seems like it's just never ending. That it's like we were talking about this last night, just like I don't know, we have seriously considered getting like a camper and just going away for a while. And I would just like stream, get like an IRL backpack and stream through like a, you know, phone modem or whatever. Hey Adrian, how you doing? All better now, Lennon. A couple of your friends with COVID, whoopsies, big events for them. And you go to Wingnights Wednesdays. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is like, it seems like everybody that kind of like, not everybody, but people that don't follow the rules end up regretting not following the rules. So, shows you're a factory girl. Later I will. It's just a winter thing we want this winter season over so we speed up our days in our mind. No, I think honestly, like, it's the opposite for me. Like, I just feel like time is flying past. So, like, yes, I want winter over. I much prefer summer. But, like, time's just a blur. Hey, Skelly. I'm doing good. How about you? By COVID whoopsies, you mean kids? Oh, I thought you meant, like, they got COVID by accident because of, you know, they were like, ah, fuck it, and we, you know, went out and got COVID. Yeah, I was like, there was like a lot of people that were joking at the beginning of like, fuck, like what, 2 years ago now almost, where they're like, okay, everybody's gonna get through this with either a divorce or a child, and or a divorce and a pregnancy or whatever. So far, I'm good. So far. But no, we were talking about just like if in the new year, like things. So, like, the cases in Alberta, the hospital cases and whatever, which is what the concerning part of the new variant is. The hospitals just can't handle the amount of cases. So if, like, shit's still the same or worse in the new year, we might just, like, look at buying a camper, like maybe a small camper van or something like that. And probably not go, like, in winter, but, like, maybe spring, something like that. We just like go for a bit and like stream from the road or figure something out to just like do something because we're going so stir crazy. Like, it's not like we're adventurous people. It's not like we go on vacation, you know, very often. Maybe like a weekend away, max twice a year kind of thing. But it's just like, I know everybody's feeling it. It's not just us. It's just trying to find like a way to do it safely that also lets us, you know. The Vegas for sure, yeah. For sure, Anakin. Thanks, Kelly. I'm glad you're good. Hey, Cornelius. I'm doing pretty good. How about you? Thanks, VK. We're almost a hump day. It's true. Almost halfway there. It's coming to Austin reacting like the pandemic is over in Texas. I've been hearing that for a long time about Texas, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here people aren't... So, like, people have gotten pretty used to wearing masks. Obviously, there's still random people that are, like, anti-that or anti-vax or whatever, but the average interaction is, you just go somewhere, you're wearing a mask, not a big deal. Go to a restaurant, you're wearing a mask, not a big deal. There's a large majority of people have had their first vaccine, if not their second. I haven't looked at stats in a while. So it's not like the majority of people are just like, this is just our normal. There's obviously there's actually, there was like a big thing on the Edmonton subreddit because I don't know who the fuck he is, but some guy made like he made like a TikTok about how, I don't know what caused this. Somebody obviously got kicked out of the mall, West Edmonton Mall, by security for not wearing a mask. There's a mask mandate. They have to. Like, you have to wear a mask, or you can't. Yeah. So anyways, he made a big TikTok about how, like, this is bullshit and no one, security can't lay a finger on me. And, you know, they had all these people that were doing like an anti-mask rally outside of the mall. And they're like, okay, so, you know, starting on the biggest Saturdays of the year in December, we're gonna take this rally inside, and we're gonna have 100-something people, and no security will be able to do anything about it, and they can't lay a finger on me, and, you know, like, just rage and like threatening violence against the security, and threatening to like to just do whatever the fuck they want and wear all these, like, not wear masks in the mall. And everybody was like on the TikTok. I was like, so the cops are just gonna show up on those days? Like, you're just gonna...
Science.
How did your science go, Docs? Successful? Yeah, so anyways, so they're planning on doing like this coming Saturday, next Saturday, and whatever. And it's just like, okay, so the cops are just gonna be at the mall? That's all that's gonna happen. What fucking entitled idiots. It's private property. You do not have a single right. If you were gonna be like, I don't know, like if you were going to be at a grocery store, at least that would make more sense logically to argue, versus the mall. You have no reason to go to the mall. You can get everything online. There's no necessities at the mall. Like it's just, there's so many arguments, there's so many issues with his argument. But yeah, I don't know. Canadian, how am I feeling today after yesterday's workout? A little bit stiff. Like I'm definitely feeling it in my quads. I feel like tomorrow might be a better indicator of how I actually feel. Cause like I'm like achy, but not like actually really in pain. So pretty good. Next how this shit year, winter storm, hurricane, flooding, COVID. Yeah, Texas is struggling for sure. In the spicy conversation. You brewed yourself coffee because you've been craving it for days? Ooh, nice. Could possibly vaccine against COVID, but good luck curing stupidity. Yeah, there is no vaccine for stupidity. Anyways, it's yeah. But yeah, I would love to go somewhere, anywhere. Just to like literally have a change of pace, to get out of my own home for like several days at a time. That's it. That's kind of all I want right now. Good idea, Funter. That's a great plan. Or maybe wait after, maybe like another, I don't know, 30 minutes, so I haven't been streaming for just like 24 minutes before you make that joke. And then you'll see my boobs actually doing their work. Good talk. Vaccine for stupidity could be tying tubes and vasectomy. It's too far. Yeah, there are people that you're like, should you be procreating? Should you? Unrelated to vaccine shit. There's just moments where you're like, Maybe COVID is the vaccine for stupidity. That's 400 IQ. So that's like one of the conspiracy theorists for the anti-vax shit, where they were like, if you Idiocracies came to mind. I've just never seen the movie. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. They're like, oh, you know, they're trying to control you by giving you the vaccine, and then they're gonna kill you off because like whatever. It was all like, there was this weird line of thinking at one point in time. I don't know. I try and zone out most of this conspiracy shit, but one of the lines of thinking was just like, okay, they're doing it to control the masses, and then they're gonna cull the people that got the vaccine. Wouldn't it be the other way around? Like, if anything, the governments would want the people that are listening to them to be the ones that stay alive, right? Wouldn't they be using the vaccine to like be like, okay, we're gonna keep the people that fall in line, the sheep, we're gonna keep them and get rid of everybody else? Logically, I don't know. There's no logic with the anti-vax conspiracy shit. Like, there are a couple, not many, but there are a couple valid reasons why people would be hesitant to get vaccines. That's not one of them. Flooding in the west now, fires in the summer, extreme at east. Actually, so yeah, I'm from Vancouver, and the flooding in Abbotsford right now. So I talked about this briefly on stream. Abbotsford is like right outside of Vancouver. It's like a hour and a half outside of Vancouver. And it flooded. It used to be a lake, so it was in a bit of a valley, or part of it used to be a lake, and so it flooded. It destroyed a shit ton of homes. People's homes were flooded like up to the roof line kind of thing. Massive amounts of water. So they evacuated a bunch of people. I guess shit started calming down, and then they just recently have been getting more rain, more storms, whatever, so they've had to evacuate more people. They're looking at more floods. There's no way through Canada right now. I don't think there's a single way by road into Vancouver because the Coca-Cola washed out in multiple places, like literal chunks of the road, like removed from the rest of the highway. Yeah, so they're flying everything in and out, and it's a port, so they can boat stuff in. And I think from the States that road is still okay. It should be, but obviously going through the States is like a whole other hurdle. So yeah, it's a big problem over there right now. Third storm system, yeah. Logic has little place in these discussions, sadly. Truth. Hey Brittany, how you doing? Don't bring logic and reason kicking and screaming into this. I'm sorry. Conspiracies typically view the actions against certain demographic, race, beliefs, etc. Sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of people this time I don't... Anyways. You're rusty. Bridges are gone, need to go south and then up. Yeah. Yeah, well, because Vancouver is, as I sort of explained this before, for those of you that don't know, Vancouver is, so it's like north of Seattle, it's north of Washington. It's like right on the west coast and then the border of the States. It's a pretty big city. Like the lower mainland, I think, has like 8 million people in it. Vancouver proper has like maybe 1 million, but Vancouver proper is really small. It's like the downtown area. And then, yeah. So that like, hold on, I have to change the music. So I can't do multiple things at once. How do I get back to this? I went into like app view for some reason. I'm so confused. It won't even let me change the fucking song. Go. Yeah, so Vancouver is like right on the US border, and then you can't go north by road because you can go north to like Whistler, where remember the Olympics in 2010 where like Vancouver, Whistler, there's mountain ranges, and so you can go up and you just hit like resort town kind of thing. There isn't a way through, I don't believe, or if there is, it's like back roads. So the way out of Vancouver by road is to go east, and all the roads east are washed out or flooded. And you can't go west because it's ocean, so you could take a ferry, and so you'd have to go south into the States. That's it. Which, like, obviously they're not trapped there, but it's creating a whole bunch of like logistical issues of getting supplies, like, you know, gas shortages, and, you know, people are just panicking about like getting things in and out. Because it's a port, it's a major port, it's gonna be okay, and they're flying stuff in. Actually, some of the like smaller towns like in northern BC are more at risk than Vancouver itself. But yeah, it's an interesting natural disaster, one that I don't think a lot of Vancouverites saw coming. You're from Montreal, our biggest catastrophe right now is the Habs. I feel that. As someone that lives in Edmonton, I understand. Yeah, for sure, Power. I mean, conspiracies in general aren't necessarily bad. Like, thinking about it from all different angles and trying to see, like, necessarily second guess what you're being told by the government and the media and whatever. Having critical thinking is not a bad thing. It's just when the conspiracies get so fucking outlandish, like the lizard people shit. You're just like, what? Come on. You're in Kelowna, supposed to come to Vancouver this weekend. Guess it's not happening. I was legitimately thinking, so because I grew up in Vancouver, my mom and my stepdad live in Vancouver still. I was considering going and seeing them over Christmas for like a few days, like driving out there and then driving back or something, or maybe flying. Fuck that. Like, I don't even want to deal with it right now. Like, driving's not an option. Flying is an option, but it's probably really expensive, I would imagine, and nope. Hey, bot, how you doing? Hey, Meadow. My day's going all right. How about you? Critical thinking, that's the key. It's not being taught in most places anymore. Yep. You love Kelowna? Kelowna is, like, honestly, the Okanagan is, like, an amazing area. They've been dealing with a lot of, like, droughts and fires, though, which fucking sucks. Speaking of natural disasters. But yeah, though, like, I used to love going to the Okanagan. Like, Osoyoos is my favorite place, south of Kelowna, but, like, I used to love that area, or, like, Summerland or whatever. It's really, really nice in the summer. It's literally called Summerland. I know it's weird because it's talking about summer, but yeah. Yeah, very, very pleasant, like, lovely area to be in the summer. A lot of people retire there. But yeah, they've been having all sorts of natural disasters. Now Vancouver is, honestly, anyways, what I was roundabout gonna say with, like, hey, if you're living in Vancouver, living in BC and you're dealing with all those natural disasters, North BC maybe a little better, and like prairies. The prairies are boring as fuck. We don't get anything. We get like a tornado that maybe touches down once every 3 or 4 years for like an hour, if that. Hey, Axe, how you doing? You lived 5 years in Edmonton, a very weird part of your life, but enjoyed the prosperity check. Fair enough. It's Edmonton's an interesting city. It's very, very practical and boring in a lot of ways. Like, there's lots of festivals that happen here normally in like summers, especially. Obviously these last couple of years have been not that, but like Fringe Festival's really huge here, and like typically like the White Ave area throughout the summer, there's almost always a festival going on. So there's lots of things like to do normally. But the city itself is like, the river valley's pretty. There's a few other little areas that are nice, but mostly it's just like a generic city. I don't know. So it's like very functional for me. It's like very livable. Not exciting, but livable. So like, and when I moved here, the cost of living is so much cheaper than Vancouver. It was like, okay, I can live in a prettier, nicer city and have the exact same lifestyle. Maybe a little bit worse because I'm like, at the time was like basically paycheck to paycheck because rent is so expensive, and I was like younger and stuff, not making great money. Or move here, cost of living so much cheaper, and then you can afford to go on vacations and do more things and buy more stuff if you want. Like, it's just, so it really depends on like what your, really depends on like what you're looking for out of life. And I found like I moved here and it was like, okay, the stress of the financial burden's gone, but I also get to go places now. Like I never went on vacation. If I took a vacation when I lived in Vancouver, I stayed in Vancouver. And like staycations are fine or whatever, but it's very nice to actually be able to be like, hey, let's go to Vegas. Let's go to TwitchCon. Let's do, whatever, like have those options. It was like, it's not really affordable. Vancouver is not affordable. I actually saw like a article, my mom sent it to me actually, that the average millennial that is, which I am, I guess, a millennial, that is buying a home in Vancouver has a minimum of $300,000 gift from their parents towards their home because it is so expensive. So if you are 30 something and let's just say 30, and you're buying a home in Vancouver, on average, your parents are giving you $300,000. Homes cost $1 million plus there. So here, you could buy a townhouse for $300,000. You could buy a very large home, depending on the age of it, whatever, for $300,000 to $400,000. Like, you could custom build something for $400,000. They're on average, they're effectively buying a home in a cheap place. Exactly. So it's just like, when my mom sent me that, I was like, So can I was gonna make the joke to her, but I was like, can I have that? Because I could just like buy a house here. Can I do that? Vancouver is a great place to visit. It's a hard place to live for me. It's funny to you is that you visit Kelowna business while working in a company that does disaster recovery and property damage remediation. Oof. Hey, Funhouse, how you doing? Klondike days? Yeah, Klondike days. White Ave used to hang out at Tap and Grill with a nasty black dog. I honestly don't go to White Ave very often. I'm such a homebody that like, oh, every once in a while I'll go, but I'm not really spend a lot of time. Work. You went by quick, didn't it? Yes, really did go by quick, Meadow, 100%. That's the rationale of our friends living in rural Ohio. Yes. Yep. Yeah, I mean, in cost of living in a lot of the states, if you're outside of like the major hubs, so if you're not in like LA or New York or something like that, it's cheaper. Like it's cheaper to live in like Ohio. Probably not, maybe I don't know about like Columbus, but like I would not be surprised if even in Columbus, if it was cheaper to live there than if it was cheaper to live in Edmonton. Like generally cost of living in like the non-major hubs in the States is cheaper than in the non-major hubs in Canada. Our major hubs are equal, like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, very, very expensive, just like in the States. China buying in BC one house at a time. There's a lot of, I mean, it's not just China. There's a lot of foreign money in BC, in Vancouver. It's same as like a lot of the West Coast. San Francisco has the same problem. It's a lot of like non-local people buying homes and then they sit empty and they jack up the housing price. So yes. 1 mil, holy moly. You can buy a shoebox. Yeah, that's what I was at when, like, I was like, I can rent a shoebox. 300K even when I have a pretty nice house in suburban Detroit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean... Mm-hmm. You're in the Rust Belt, it's cheap as hell there. Yeah, I mean, like, it just is what it is. It's just, just gotta choose what matters most to you, I guess, right? Your house is semi-coastal California, 60K back in 2015. Your neighbors just sold theirs 6 months ago for 650K. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty typical of a lot of people in Vancouver, that if they hold on to their house for like 5-10 years, it just skyrockets in price. I saw a house in Toronto that, I don't even know why the hell I saw this article, but it did, that was talking about it had been sold like 3 times in the last 10 years. And every time it got sold, it almost doubled or tripled in price. It was like, it started at something like 200,000 and in like 2010, and it sold for over $1 million just this year. It was something like that. It was like absolutely ridiculous. And it was this little like 1-story, I didn't look at the like pictures of the inside or whatever, but it didn't look new. In fact, it wasn't new. It was probably something from like the 70s, if I had to guess. Maybe even a bit older. It was like, it might have had a basement, because a lot of like homes in Canada typically have basements. That's pretty normal here. Yeah, if I had to guess, like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house max, it was pretty small and over $1 million, and that's Toronto. Toronto's super expensive too. You can buy crime rate, you stay in Canada before moving south. Yeah, I mean, it's not like there's no crime here. It's just different crime. Like, our statistics look a little different, but there's still lots of crime. Yeah, fair enough, main guy. Hey, Alt, how you doing? Grew up in a piss-puddle town. Oh, my chat moved. Norway. You buy a fine 5-bedroom house for sub 100 grand in US. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, there is like, so if you go to like PEI, Prince Edward Island, is like a tiny little province. I'm pretty sure it's even smaller than Rhode Island. It's our smallest province. It's just maritime Canada, little island, and you can get like an acreage for like 100,000 US, like or Canadian. You just used to be able to, like, they're literally like selling homes for the price of the land, if not cheaper, because they're trying to encourage people to move there because there's nobody there and nothing there, and that's why it's so cheap. It's like you move there and there's such a limited amount of commodities. There's a limited amount, like what's the word? Infrastructure? No, not infrastructure. Like it's just like the cities and the towns are so tiny that, I don't know, if you want to go to like a movie theater, there's it's just like things like that. There's not a lot of restaurants, and so it's like living in very small town rural area. There's not a lot of work, so it'll be interesting to see how pricing evens out though, as people can continue to work from home. Because like if you work in rural Saskatchewan right now, assuming you're not farming, land, like your housing is going to be dirt cheap, but there's nowhere for you to work there, pretty much. So it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's like that trade-off, I guess. A thing called golden visas a couple years ago helped inflate the housing market by a lot because it's very foreigners. Yeah, fair enough, Pedro. And a lot of those people don't live there necessarily. They might like vacation there, right? Like they'll be like, oh, I'll buy this, I'll visit, you know, for a month, a year, and then it drives the housing costs up. Hey, Veit, how you doing? There's organized crime in Canada. The organized crime in Canada just looks a little different. So in most places in Canada, the organized crime is Hells Angels. And there isn't a lot contesting it. So in Edmonton, it's Hells Angels. You don't see them very often. Like, I mean, obviously they wear their cuts and they do, you know, whatever. So every once in a while you'll see a Hells Angels. But like, you know, they're there and they run shit and everybody knows they run shit, but mostly things are pretty calm because they don't do the way that like bikers run things is a little different than like competing gangs, right? So they have such a monopoly that there isn't a lot going on, and if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. You know, obviously they probably run guns and drugs and whatever, all the normal stuff, but you usually don't really see it. They're 100% there, though. In Vancouver, it's a little bit of a different story. There are Hells Angels in Vancouver, but there's also a lot of other competing gangs. So there's like I think it's like an Iranian family that runs like West Vancouver, for example. And there is like a Chinese gang in Richmond and an Indian, like India, I don't know, sorry, this is a Canadian thing. We say East Indian, which isn't an accurate thing, but in Surrey. And so like different areas are like kind of run by different, and you see more gang activity in Vancouver. But even so, it's not very often. Every once in a while, every few years, like maybe 5 to 7 years, there's like a big blowout between one or two of the groups, but it's pretty chill most of the time. But yeah, there's like, I think like a lot of people that I know of that know about Hells Angels, like here and further east. I don't know what like the East Coast is like, or even like Toronto for that matter. But people in like the prairies that are like, oh yeah, it's just, you know, the Hells Angels do this. It's like we're indifferent because it doesn't affect us. You never feel unsafe. Like if I saw a Hells Angel, I wouldn't feel unsafe, right? I would just be like, I'm gonna leave them alone, ignore them, he'll ignore me. You know, that's just kind of how shit goes here. So again, not to say that they're good guy criminals. I don't know if I would use that word. I think it's just more like there's always going to be somebody, right? There's always going to be somebody doing that shit. And you, in my opinion, it's like, well, at least the person, the people or the organization that's doing that shit here is doing it in a way that doesn't impact the day-to-day lives of Canadians. You don't fuck with them, they won't fuck with you. Yeah, exactly. Just come and give me all the money, eh? The fancy computer setup, all water cooled? Yes. Yep. If you want the... Is it this above command? That's my setup if you're curious. All the specs and whatever are in the description, and if you want to watch a video or not. About house for 300k in Nevada. It's in the middle of nowhere, but it works perfectly for me because you travel on company time to each job site every day. Nice. That works, Rust. That works. You gotta grow her to feel safe. Oh man. This Hells Angel, so in the Maritimes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like across the large majority of Canada. So, yeah. Again, it's like, I'm not saying it's good. It's just, I'm sort of resigned. I'm cynical enough to think that like there's always going to be somebody dealing drugs and there's going to be somebody running fucking, you know, guns around or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck criminals do, but like, it's always going to be happening, right? So at least if they're doing it in a way that doesn't make other people feel unsafe or like the average person unsafe, I'm like, well, could be worse. You know? The PS5 for Christmas. Sounds like something a criminal will say. I'm clearly a Hells Angel. I know they normally only let guys in, but I'm clearly a Hells Angel. Is the PS5, does the PS5 even have any games out? I remember everybody was like trying to get one for so long. And how many games did they even release that are just for PS5? Because like, I feel like they had like 2 or 3 games. And I was just like, what's the big deal getting a PS5 if you can just play everything on the PS4? I don't know. It's kind of like how when Switch first came out, like everyone was so much hype. And don't get me wrong, I got a Switch. I like Nintendo games. And it was like Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart or something. It was like literally like 2 or 3 games they launched with. And then they slowly have been releasing games for it. But it was like for months and months and months, you're just like, so... That new COVID virus now? I think the whole world does. Yep. The latest and greatest. Yoko was a huge Harley guy and a trucker. Got along so well with our local health chapter in QC. Never had a problem with them. Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so first of all, not every Hells Angel is a criminal. They literally do that on purpose, right? Because then they can blend. So just because you're a biker, even if you're in the Hells Angel, you know that the organization is probably doing bad shit. Doesn't mean that everybody is. And the Hells Angel will also have, they'll have people like lawyers and whatever that help them with shit, whether it's illegal or not illegal. And it's not just like big burly, you know, rough bikers with like beards down to their waist kind of thing. It's, yeah. So most overnight crowds, even in Chicago, you think everything's better for them if you don't fuck with the general public. But Chicago, for some reason, not a ton of inter-gang conflict. LA back in the heyday. There's a comment. Yeah, that's fair, Dave. That's very fair. That it just like. Unfortunately, though, when there is gang on gang stuff, there are people that get caught in the crossfire of that. Like, no pun intended. Whether or not it's guns and, you know, gun related violence, gang on gang gun related violence, or whatever, there ends up being people that are around it when it happens, whether they get hurt or they just feel unsafe or whatever, right? So the more of that shit that happens, the more unsafe a city might feel or a person might feel, even if they're not the target or the victim or whatever. My case? I got my case from Memory Express. It's the Lian Lee Mini something or other, I think. Thank you, Fluffy. Waking up thinking it's not October yet. I feel that. I feel that. I did not work out today. I'm going to be working out every 3 days. Or 3 days a week, sorry. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to be working out. You think it's a man-made virus? Well, you could think anything you want. Battle damage is an issue, yeah. Yeah, even if it's not, like I said, even if it's just like an overall feeling of safety, of like, or wanting to avoid a certain area of the city, or whatever. That kind of sucks. That being said, there are always areas of a city, any city, that feel sketchier or more unsafe than other areas. For whatever reason. Full body split. I don't really know what you mean. I am trying to work out every muscle group, if that's what you're saying, but I'm just giving myself time. My fitness level is not high enough to do like every day, even if I wanted to. I mean, like I could, I would just be in a lot of pain. So yeah, I don't have the motivation at this point to do that. Felt good working out yesterday. Keep doing that. But yeah, not every day. Gotta give myself a breather. I'll be streaming my workout then. Yes. Streaming my yeah. When I work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll be streaming them. Yep, I painted them on differently today. Sketchy barometer is probably a bit out of whack. It's all what we get used to, right? I don't know. So here, like, I don't know. It's interesting here in Edmonton watching the subreddit. Sometimes people go off about downtown. Oh, this happened. This weird thing happened. This person was being sketchy. Whatever. And then, like in Vancouver, there's areas of the city where that's like, you know, a 50 times a day kind of thing. So it's like what you get, it's really what you get used to. And Vancouver has this area, like Hastings and Main, 2 streets, but they, like a cross street. And there's just this, like this intersection where there is a shit ton of homeless people, and there's a lot of homeless people in Vancouver because it is mild and you can sleep outside and not die in the winter, whereas a lot of Canada, if you're not in a shelter, you're gonna freeze to death. So homeless people will migrate to BC, specifically Vancouver, because there's a lot of other homeless people. So that's one factor. And then 2, there's a lot of like there was a big psychiatric facility in Coquitlam, which is like a suburb, that they closed years ago and then just like sort of just released everybody instead of moving them to different facilities. Most of the people were just like, okay, bye, like go fend for yourself. So there's a lot of like mentally unstable people there, or people that have left facilities, stopped taking their meds, whatever. So it's like they're not harmful by any means, but there's some very like off the wall people down there. And the cops basically wrangle all of the homeless people into this like area of the city. There's actually a TV show called like The Beat or something that I watched, was really interesting. It was like a mini documentary series. following a few cops that work that area, and they more or less just let everything slide down there. So there's all these drug deals, there's all this like, you know, weird like weirdness happening, and they kind of just try and their plan for it is to mostly keep it contained because there's too much happening that they can't possibly put everybody in jail, nor would they want to. So they kind of just like limit it. So if you're going through that area, it's weird. It's very weird, and it's especially weird because it's right next to Gastown, which is like a very touristy area of the city, one of the many. So you like, you get off the C bus and you're in this Gastown, which is like really kind of cool, rustic, like almost steampunkish. It's actually where they filmed John Wick, like the headquarters of John Wick is in Gastown, Vancouver. And so it's like, it's like an interesting area of the city. You go one block too far and there's just homeless people and people that are like so fucking high that they're just wandering around the middle of the road or like yelling at people, and most of them like just doing their own thing. They're not gonna even come near you, but it's very jarring if you've never been there before. Yeah. Why would I name my tits? OMG. And no, not really. It's not. Docs was making a joke, but we're not actually gonna have conversations about my tits. That's boring and unnecessary. Can we have conversations about your ears? Top 10 safest cities in the world: Copenhagen, Toronto, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, Amsterdam, Wellington, Hong Kong. Interesting. I was in Copenhagen. I really like Copenhagen, actually. Not surprised that it's very safe. It felt safe. It's a really nice city. Really, really cool city too. Like so much history, and like the people are great. And for whatever reason, culturally, everybody here is always on their phones. And when I was in Copenhagen, the amount of people that were just sitting around on their phones was way less. So I don't know, it's just like a cultural difference, but it was like very noticeable. Your left ear is called Earl, your right is Alfonso Riviera Espinosa. The third. You've had two other ears? Interesting. I didn't know what they regrew. What's the name of your right ear? Should have trademarked it. Twinsies. Like how sharks get multiple sets of teeth. Apparently we get multiple ears. I should try this. Okay, be right back and cut off my ear. Fucking. God damn, I was gonna say Da Vinci style, but was that him? Was he the one that cut off his ear? Or was that Van Gogh? Thank you. I was like, that's not right. I should remember. I'm gonna remember it by like Eargo or something. Van Gogh Eargo. Because I've had that mix up before where I couldn't remember. This is how we learn things. Eargo. Eargo the painter. I literally like looked up to see what one they, so like obviously when I was thinking of Da Vinci, I was like thinking of the dude, you know, that's doing the poses. Mona Lisa. And I'm like, I don't know, what else did he paint? Was he the Last Supper? And then Van Gogh is Starry Night, Scream. They're not even remotely similar stylistically. And I'm sure I don't think they were even alive at the same time. But for whatever reason, in my head, I think it's because they're like the only two famous painters that I remember. Monet? Maybe? I don't know. Vitruvian Man. Screaming is Edvard Munch? What? Oh. You're right. Why did I think that was... Clearly, I don't know why I'm surprised at my lack of knowledge. Isn't there like a Monet and then a... There's one that's spelt similar, pronounced different? Why are we talking about art? Why not? Why talk about anything? Da Vinci, Van Gogh, Money, Banksy. Oh yeah. Banksy's really cool, actually. Oh, Monet. Oh, yeah. Okay, not money. Monet and Manet? I don't know how to pronounce that. Ready for Endwalker? Yeah, I am. I haven't been playing, so I was raiding, and my static kind of didn't like fall apart, just sort of stopped because there was just a lot going on in everybody's life. And a lot of people in my static are raiding in WoW, and they actually just killed Sylvanas, so they were like kind of trying to focus on that. So I think we're gonna be picking things up for Endwalker. Maybe, we'll see. But because of that, I kind of just like, I was leveling a couple things for a bit, and then it's like, eh. So I stopped playing. So I haven't been sitting here being like, come on, Endwalker. I've been playing other stuff, but I'm sure it'll be very good. When it is like Friday is early access. Hey, Broke. What's going on? And hey, Rigged. How you doing? The name of the song. I should tell you, maybe. There you go. Christopher Walken painted over a Banksy piece on a TV show. Wait, really? Hey, crazy. No problem, Rigged. Dark mode needs to figure out when people have really, really dark names, like the dark blue or black names, they need to like put a outline or something if you're using dark mode, because this is just like, I have to hover over people to see what their name is. Granted, the opposite happens if somebody's name is white or like bright yellow or something. I'm pretty good. No, it's fine, Rigged. It's a graphical issue. I'm good. I have some of the same Monet as Manaz? Manaz? Every time somebody tries to spell something out for me to pronounce, like whenever we have those dialect conversations and somebody's like, oh, you say roof instead of roof or whatever, and then they try and like spell it out for me, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. You have a Bachelor of Art History finally paid off. There you go. This is your moment. It's your moment, main guy. Look, you forgot your name was Black Brown. It's like, people should be able to have whatever color name they want. I think it's just such a minor thing, but when you're designing a website, you have to keep in mind that like shit has to be readable, font has to be readable. So, graphical design flaw, that's all. Money and Mayonnaise, the famous artery. That's that's great. I don't know why that amuses me so much, but yeah. That's it. So I know Irgo, Da Vinci, Money, Mayonnaise, and Banksy. Those are the ones. Those are the only artists I know. Only ones you need. Yeah, I'm sure that won't be a problem. I mean, I can't say that I normally have like art conversations in my day-to-day life. It was just the ear reference thing that started this. Just give me like 2 minutes, guys. I'll be right back.